bank branch locator gives you the location of the banks and the footprint you have to be in to get access to funding. ibanknet.com gives you all the financials of the banks, how much money they're giving out, how much money they're bringing in. So I will look up, this is how I created my funding process. I will look up the banks. You will look up any country, any vicinity, any town. I'll see who's giving out the most money. Whoever's giving out the most money, I'll Google it and see if they have a personal and a business account. I like to set up bank accounts with personal and business accounts so you get access on both sides. And then I'll say, all right, what business products do they have? I'll call them up and see how to get access to them. So simply about having a conversation and creating relationships. So that's why I want people to go out, speak to these bank branch managers and relationship managers, business relationship managers. Create relationships with those two people and you get access to funding a lot easier.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Marvin Francois Show, your number one source for all things business, finance, and investing. And today is a very special day. And I know I say that before every episode, but this episode is truer than it's ever been true before, because for the first time ever in TMFS show history, we have not only one, but two guests on, all right? I'm talking with Brandon Jackson and Tevin Facey, also known as Millionaire Essentials. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Show me some love. Show me some love.
Right there.
Listen, I'm extremely excited to have you guys on board. This is going to be a hell of an episode, so without further ado, let's just get right into it.
Let's go.
So for those who don't know, let's just jump into it. Let the people know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and how you got your start.
Got you. So my name is Tevin Facey. I am from Queens, New York, and I started off as a 9-to-5 worker, right? I've done a lot of things in regards to working for Con Edison, a subcontractor, a lot. But it wasn't until I met my partner and we came together, started talking about credit, what we wanted to do with our life. And, you know, we had our beautiful daughter. Her name is Leanna. I love her to death. And she's the reason why I pushed to get out of this 9-to-5 rat race. I needed more time. We needed more time. Our family needed more time. With being in that 9-to-5 rat race, I wasn't able to do all of that. So even during that, to the latter end of me being in my 9-to-5, being at Con Edison, working a job that's for the city, good salary, well, great salary in New York. But not only just that, but having the health benefits, all the good stuff that we all want as, you know, humans, individuals, when we start to grow up for our family. We took it upon ourselves to start, you know, doing things that's outside of that 9-to-5 rat race. And with doing so, we grew, we grew, we build. And then we stumbled upon funding. Even though we were researching it for a couple of years, we stumbled upon it. Once we stumbled upon it, we took it to another level. You know, obviously purchased a couple courses, mentorships, things like that. But already had the information, just needed to expand upon it.
Right.
Once we did so, we got ourselves some funding, over $600,000 in, I think, the span of like 3 months.
Okay.
And then from there, we basically took ourselves out of that 9-to-5 rat race and started investing into things that would be able to bring us in some money.
And haven't looked back since.
Haven't looked back since.
And now you're full-time in entrepreneurship.
Full-time in entrepreneurship with my guy, Brandon, you know, with my partner. She's great, and with other partners and other businesses as well.
Gotcha. And then Brandon, how did you end up coming into entrepreneurship?
Similar story. I worked for the city of New York since I was 18 years old. So I done seen the system in and out as a young age as far as a city worker. So I done had a 401k, bought my first house by leveraging it. I had a 9-to-5, had benefits at a young age. So a lot of people think, yo, that's great. You're in a great position. But what I found out shortly is no elevation.
Okay.
But what I wanted was elevation, right? So being at a young age, being a supervisor, I learned, like he said, it's a rat race. So it looks good from the outside, but a lot of our people are stuck in that rat race. And what I want, and what me and Tevin is doing, is showing people elevation. So it's great having, you know, working 9-to-5s, making 6 figures a year, health benefits. But what if I want to take my family on a trip every single month? What if I like fancy things? What if I want to invest back in my community? It takes money to invest back in the community.
Right.
Wealth, it takes wealth to build your community. And a lot of us can't just do that if we live in paycheck to paycheck or just above our means. And in New York, a 9-to-5, 6 figures is really just above your means, even as a family. Because it takes a lot. And people don't know it takes a lot to raise a family. What if I want 6, 7 kids?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what I found out shortly is I needed more money. I needed more education to advance my community. And just like Tevin, we come from kind of similar backgrounds. You know, Queens get the money, and that's what we out here trying to do. But most importantly, we out here trying to elevate our community.
Right.
And by that is education. So that's where we learn about how do I get more money? How do I invest? How do I get to the next level? And it's about leveraging. When I learned about leveraging credit, that I can access more money than I can save up and really put that money to better use, that's when I started investing into entrepreneurship. Real estate primarily. That was my first way into entrepreneurship. And that's probably the foundation of what I think everybody should be in. And then once I started getting into that, it just led it to other avenues. And then along the way, I met different partners, started building a family. I met my partner, Tevin, and we just meshed together because we have similar stories, similar backgrounds, and we have a similar goal. So that's really my story. And I've been taking off ever since, helping hundreds of people, educating hundreds and thousands of people. And we really want everybody to get this education and bring it together so now we can all grow together.
Right.
So that's our common goal.
Got you. So he worked at Con Ed. What was your job?
Or New York City Transit.
MTA?
MTA.
That was you?
MTA.
Technically, I'm still employed at MTA.
Are you really?
Still employed.
Okay, so I'm guessing.
Technically.
So you just walked out, you never came back.
Exactly.
So you on a crazy lunch break right now.
Exactly.
Got you. Okay. So you worked at MTA from 18 until, and you walked away from, well, you went on your extended lunch break. Let's call it that. At what age?
Well, just to go over that briefly, sometimes we work best with our back against the wall, right?
Facts.
So I actually left. The time I really walked out is the same month my father passed away, and I was in a crazy car accident, totaled my car. Wow. And coincidentally, God, grace or glory, I walked away from that accident unscathed, right?
Right.
And that was I didn't even have much money. And this was about a year and a half ago, 2 years. I didn't have much money, but I just put my back against the wall and I believed in myself. I was already on the path of entrepreneurship during that time. Right. But now I'm like, yo, I'm going full force. I don't care what's in my bank account. I don't care because I had a plan. I got a mission. And I'm still here today to accomplish that mission.
That's very funny because it's like what propelled me into getting more funding, or even what I was able to do to be able to get that funding in those span of 3 months was because I had a car accident. We literally just bought our first 4-family. We already had a property before. We've done at least 3 like soft fix and flips. I say soft because it wasn't a full gut or anything like that. But July 12th was my birthday. I bought my 4-family. Literally July 31st on the way to work, 6:23 I think a.m. got into a car accident. Wow. And ever since then, I didn't look back. I just went straight for the funding. I went ahead and I really propelled myself. So it is really strange that we do have the same story and that we're partners in that sense too. So.
Yeah, that's turning tragedy essentially to triumph and essentially coming together through that time. You know, both y'all coming out of very serious situations and going all in on entrepreneurship to now put together Millionaire Essentials, which is a funding company, right? So that kind of leads to my next question, because I'm curious to know why funding, right? Because you know
we are a funding company, but we're main so an academy.
Got you.
Yes.
Got you. So why that lane? Because I'm sure when you guys were coming together, you probably thought of all the different avenues within entrepreneurship that you could have explored. What was it about, starting this academy when around funding that you guys was like, all right, this is the lane that we're going to take?
So for me, me and my partner, we actually had a similar kind of ordeal that we were doing a little bit before. So, I think it was during like November, December, we were kind of teaching about how to get yourself funding. We weren't more so talking about how to become a funding company. We were teaching about how to get funding, right? Because a lot of people at that time, I think, what is this? 2023, 2020, so 2021, the ending towards it, 2021. That's what we were really talking about, because a lot of people didn't know how to get funding or even start to invest. We just came out of a pandemic. It was the worst time for a lot of people. A lot of people lost their jobs. And if they did regain their jobs, they didn't know what to do. So we already had a funding, not an academy, but more so like a mentorship in a sense. Gotcha. But then me and Brandon were always talking about it. We were like, we both do the similar things. Let's go ahead and put this together. We were already funding people on our own, like on the back end. So we were just like, I think it was a couple months later, it was a couple months later, right? I think me and Brandon got on a call. We just say, let's just put this thing together. And ever since then, we never looked back. So it's more so about, sorry about that. It's more so about becoming a funding company, but also being able to leverage those hours, right? Because you don't have to put so much hours into doing so, and just really understanding how you can make 10,000 from one client or even 5,000 at minimum and only have to deal with one client per month. If that's something that you still want to do your 9 to 5 or something like that.
Got you. Okay. So you talking heavy, because when we start talking numbers, I start getting excited. You talking about 5,000 a client? That's what you said?
That's minimum.
Minimum. Okay.
Minimum.
Let me sit up.
You got to sit up a little bit.
So that's another thing too, right? Because I want people to understand when we bring people on here, I bring guests that are certified in what it is they do. So for those who don't know, when it comes to Millionaire Essentials, in terms of how much funding you guys have been able to do for your clients, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal is to do 7 figures a month as far as in a whole, right?
Okay.
For clients. So we teach you not only just to get funding for clients, how to fund yourself. So the foundation is financial success, right? That's the foundation. And building a funding company, creating a funding company is part of that. But we want you to be successful. So a lot of people out here teaching you how to get funding, but not teaching you how to pay the money back or grow and elevate. So we want to teach you how to be profitable. And teaching you how to be profitable is how to build a business and a company. And a funding company is probably one of the easiest, most profitable things that we've come to say as building a business. You can be super successful, low overhead and high income. So this is what we said, we could teach people this. By leveraging the same knowledge you're using to get funding, now you can get for other people and make $5,000 to $10,000 a client. It only takes about 10 hours a week. You could do it straight from a laptop. You can do it literally
anywhere. I was in Puerto Rico.
Anywhere.
Right? I was in Puerto Rico.
Vacation funding clients.
You was funding clients in Puerto Rico?
I was funding clients in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic at the I think it was in like March at one point, and I was still funding clients. But like the one thing I would really stress about what he said, right? And I love, and this is why we have a great partnership, right? He said literally, it's no overhead. I've invested into industries. He's invested into industries. I think from any industry that we've invested into or even done business in, this might be the easiest and fastest way for you to get your money back if you are even funding yourself.
And I don't want to. I'm gonna take what you said. Nothing is easy, but it's easy when you're dedicated to it.
Facts.
And it's easy when you're putting in the hard work.
Correct.
So something like this, where we could teach you guys using the same thing you already know, which is the education we give you on how to access capital. Now you can just transition that and start getting clients. We teach you from top to bottom how to market, how to get clients, how to get funding, how to build relationships. Takes 2 hours a day, tops 10 hours a week. And you could be making $10,000 a client. 5 clients is $50,000 a month. $50,000 a month is how much a year?
Too much.
How much a year?
$50,000 a month?
Yeah.
What is that? Around like 600,000, I believe. Yeah.
100,000 is what? 1.2. That's easy money.
I'm excited. So not only are y'all teaching people how to fish in terms of getting funding, right? But you're teaching them how to teach other people how to fish as well.
Exactly.
In terms of, right, like learning how to get funding for themselves and then turning it into a profitable business where they're now able to monetize that knowledge and help other people out. Correct. Right? How much funding have you guys done for clients up until this point?
So I know for me, because I was looking at the numbers the other day and I totally forgot to tell you. So far, I think for this year, we've done, 2022, we've actually done close to 3 million plus. So I'm just talking about for me from before. I'm not sure about you before Millionaire Essentials, but as far as what we've done together, is as far as funding those clients, has been about 3 million plus.
Beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Let's go right into it because I'm here to learn too. I want to learn. Let's talk about it, right? So let's dive a lot more into business funding. So the thing about starting a funding company, as you guys know, before you can start the company, you got to first learn how to get funded, right?
Yes.
Learning how to fish. So let's dive a little bit into that. When it comes to business funding, it's a space that obviously you guys are well versed in. There's so many different lanes and avenues within business funding that people can go to get access to capital for their businesses and for their investments. Let's talk a little bit about that. Starting off with business credit cards, right? Because that's probably one of the more popular ones that people are talking about. If I'm looking to figure out the best way to maximize my funding on getting my hands on business credit cards, what's the route that I take? How can I go about doing it? What should I be looking for? What's the entire breakdown for that?
Number one, a good credit profile, right?
Okay.
So my mentality is you either broke or rich, there's no in between.
Okay.
And by that, I mean, once you learn how to fish, you're rich already. So it's not about financially. I can have no money in my account right now. I'm still rich because I have a plan and I know how to get it. So I know how to access capital. So I'm always going to be able to get money. So once I have the knowledge of building relationships with lenders, building relationships with banks, like the tier 1 banks, the Chase, the BOAs, the Wells Fargos. Those are tier 1 banks. I know that. I know how to go in there and build a relationship. Chase Ink card, you could get 50 to 100K out the gate on a good profile. So fixing your credit, and even if you don't have a good profile, find somebody who has a good profile. So now you can access capital, and there's ways to access capital, no docs. So there's banks out there that give capital to you just based on your credit score without showing financial documents. And that's what we like to teach people. You can get access to large amounts of capital just by having a good credit score. So if you don't have a good credit score, go get your credit fixed. There's so much free information on how to get your credit fixed, and we also fix credit. So especially inside our academy, we teach you how to fix credit. So we teach you the foundation to build you up. So wherever level you're at, we get you to that next level.
Right. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, that's very important because especially now, like I looked up something the other day. It said about, I think it was 22 million people have bad credit. 22 million. And the fact of the matter is that we are all behind on the generational wealth gap, right? So at some point, we have to be able to make that step forward so that we can make sure that, look, our credit is good and everything like that. So what is our next step? What is our next step? So I think that's the most important thing for sure.
Got you. Okay. So you mentioned Chase as a great location to kind of start getting your hands on business credit cards. Are there any other banks in particular you would recommend? Because you mentioned Wells Fargo, BOA. From the business credit card side of things, are there any other banks you guys would personally recommend where like this is a go-to?
So where we're at, right? We have a whole sequence you can go through, right?
Let's do it.
So it's a whole no-doc sequence. And we're on the East Coast. So you can use something like Bank Branch Locator, right? Bankbranchlocator.com. It shows you the locations of all of the banks inside the country. And if you're in their footprint, you could get access to funding. So no matter where you're at in their country, you can see what bank can you get access to funding. Now you should look up what banks give no-doc loans and lines of credit. There's banks like U.S. Bank, Truist, M&T, Citizens, PNC. Those banks give no-doc loans and lines of credit. Univest. Key Bank.
Yeah, that's our baby right
So now
there.
you can get 50 to 100K with those banks on no-doc loans and lines of credit. You get 2 products with 1 credit inquiry. So you could get a credit card, a 0% interest credit card. They all have 0% interest credit cards, which you want to do because you want to get the money as cheap as possible.
Right.
So if you can access capital with 0% interest, that's getting money as cheap as possible. That's the name of the game. And then you could get a line of credit. A line of credit is a credit line where you have to pay back as you take it. A loan, of course, when you take a loan, you got to pay back right away. So we suggest people get that line of credit and take it as you need and invest. Line of credit interest rates usually are 5 to 9%. They're increasing now.
Yeah,
You should be able to get them a little less. They're increasing now, but so you guys just got to monitor how the interest rates increase during the course of the country, how the country goes.
And sometimes you won't even get an inquiry, right? He said an inquiry for some of these banks. Sometimes you won't even get an inquiry. And that's part of our funding sequence that we're able to even do a lot of these, funding for our clients or even for ourselves because we're able to understand what bank isn't going to give an inquiry, what bank is, and how we can now formulate our plan, right? If we're talking about fixing our credit, what's involved in fixing our credit is also removing inquiries, not having those inquiries there.
Right.
So if I can now go and get funding without having so much inquiries and be able to get the money that I still need, I mean, it's a win-win ball game.
100%. Okay. And what was the name of the website you said? Because I ain't never heard
Bank Branch Locator, and there's another one called ibanknet.com.
Say that again.
So Bank Branch Locator gives you the location of the banks and the footprint you have to be in to get access to funding. ibanknet.com gives you all the financials of the banks, how much money they're giving out, how much money they're bringing in. So I will look up, this is how I created my funding process. I will look up the banks. You can look up any country, any vicinity, any town. I'll see who's giving out the most money. Whoever's giving out the most money, I'll Google it and see if they have a personal and a business account. I like to set up bank accounts with personal and business accounts so you get access on both sides. And then I'll say, all right, what business products do they have? I'll call them up and see how to get access to them. So simply about having a conversation and creating relationships. So that's why I want people to go out, speak to these bank branch managers and relationship managers, business relationship managers. Create relationships with those 2 people and you get access to funding a lot easier.
This episode of the Marvin Francois Show is sponsored by Takeoff Financial. Do you have bad credit? but are you looking to get it restored? Then look no further than my credit restoration company, Takeoff Financial, where we specialize in removing late payments, charge-offs, collections, repossessions, evictions, and so much more. All you have to do is head over to takeofffinancial.com. I repeat, that's takeofffinancial.com, where you can book a free consultation with one of our credit experts so that we can help you get one step closer to your credit goals. That's takeofffinancial.com. Let's help get your credit score to the moon. But back to the episode.
10 times easier.
So you just said, you also said something earlier on. You talked about tier 1 banks, right? I know that there are different tiers of banks, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. I want to talk about, in terms of the banks that we should be looking at, because you just gave a couple great resources on where to find some of those different banks, but there are also credit unions, right?
Absolutely.
So when it comes to, once again, maximizing funding, because I want to get a crazy bag, right? Should I be looking more towards tier 1 banks, tier 2 banks? Should I be looking more towards credit unions? How do I kind of differentiate between the two? Or can I juggle them both? Right. And are there certain credit unions that I could, add in my funding sequence along with certain banks that are going to maximize my funding as well?
So I think it really just all depends on the state and area that you're in.
Gotcha.
Right? So that makes perfect sense. So when you first figure out, obviously, well, you know what state you live in, right? So for us on the East Coast side, we can look at these banks because we've seen them. I've done it. Literally, that's what I did when I got out of my accident. I looked at what banks, we found what banks were giving out no docs. Even similar to what Brandon was saying, I was looking at what banks is in the area, how we can go about doing this, right? So for me, if I'm on the East Coast side, I know that, like we said, Key Bank, M&T, PNC, Truist, those specific banks, I know that I can be able to get the no doc loans, lines of credit. Now, some are tier 1, some are tier 2. Now, when it comes to credit unions, you can absolutely do so because credit unions, they're really great when it comes to building relationships the same way like KeyBank and like M&T.
Right.
So it's already in a similar process. The only difference with credit unions is that a lot of their lending isn't the same like bigger banks, like regional banks, because they don't get the same type of funding so that they can back themselves, so that they can now be able to lend out as much, right? So when it comes for them, they do ask for a lot of documents. Some credit unions don't, some credit unions do. So it really just all depends on your funding sequence, your funding process, and what states you're in.
Got you. Okay. I was also excited to have y'all on here because I know there are a lot of people that talk about business funding and you hear about business credit cards, lines of business credit, no doc loans, right? Those are the common ones. I heard y'all bring up something on a separate interview. I had to bring it up on here. You were talking about business grants and you were talking about, I think it's a CDFI. Could you talk a little bit about what that is for those people who don't know? Because that made my ears perk up when I first heard about it.
Got you. Yeah. So a CDFI, right? So it's a community developmental financial institution.
Okay.
Community developmental financial institution. Hear the name.
Talk to me.
So community, right? They're obviously looking to invest into the community. So if you have a business that's inside of their community or inside of their footprint, that's something that they want to lend to. Developmental, they want to develop you. They want to make sure that you understand the financial capabilities of what you need to do moving forward. Your finances, how to understand about your taxes, how to understand which ways you can go about, paying yourself and things of that nature, right? Obviously, the financial part, they're here. They're here to lend you money so that you can grow as a business. And the institution part is so that they can teach you more, right? The institution and the development, it has to go hand in hand. Because if it doesn't, then it's not going to make sense.
Gotcha.
So they're here to help you and grow you as a business, as well as teach you what you can do to grow as a business. So they do offer lending the same way how banks do, as well as credit unions and things of that nature. So it's actually really great that they have that now. And that we know about it, right? They've actually been around for a very long time.
Okay.
But we are now learning about it, obviously, in this financial literacy era when it comes to social media, because we're learning about a lot more. So with doing so, CDFIs, they've been putting themselves out a lot more so that they can lend a lot more because they do have a quota on how much they need to lend. And it's great that they can help the community at the same time.
Got you.
Yep.
When it comes to funding, does the kind of funding that I should be looking for vary based off of what I'm looking to do? So if I'm trying to invest in real estate, should I be looking to get funding for should I be looking at a line of business credit or should I be looking at a grant? How am I able to differentiate? Or is it free game and I should just be looking at all of them?
It's really,
my guy
really,
right here.
Talk to me.
my opinion is free game. You should try to get access to as much capital as possible if you have a plan.
Okay.
The number one thing is have a plan. So we learned this, and it's simple math that we learned that my daughter's doing right now at 6 years old. addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. With that math, you could create a plan to know how to make as much money as possible. So all you have to do is figure out how much products and services I gotta get a month. I gotta sell a month.
Okay.
How much does it cost to give me access to capital? So just now do the numbers and say, this capital is going to give me this much products. If I put out this much for marketing, I'm going to get this return. It's really that simple.
Right.
So I would try to get access to as much money as possible to build. My thing is build your company as big as possible.
Facts.
We use the term small businesses to get access to capital, but we're really building big businesses. We just use that term for the banks. So I would try to get access to grants. Generally, a lot of times grants is money from the government you do not have to pay back. So that's simple right there.
Right.
There's qualifications, of course. So I would just go through those qualifications. Next thing, lines of credit and credit cards.
Facts.
Now, there's interest on those that you generally have to pay back. So I would do the numbers off how much I have to sell to pay this back and be profitable. So I would get access to as much as possible to build my company. And then you got CDFIs. Then you got business. You could get business auto loans. So 2 people you should have on your team is a CPA and, of course, a lawyer for different things, right? So now you know how to write these things off and keep as much money as possible. Because the name of the game is to keep as much as possible.
Yep.
Facts.
So it's a couple things you got to put together, especially in this game of entrepreneurship, that is not easy.
He said big. I heard him right. He said big business.
Big business.
Big business.
Not little business. Not the little one.
Not a little guy.
You know what I'm
not
saying?
a little guy. Big
business.
business. Yes, sir.
This is good. This is good. Okay, so like we said, we trying to not only teach people how to fish, we also trying to teach people how they can teach others how to fish as well and monetize on that knowledge, right? So you guys know, because you deal with it on a regular basis, there's a part of this funding process that a lot of people aren't 100% sure on, and that's filling out the applications, right? The application process. If I'm trying to get my hands on more business funding, because I'm sure you guys have seen application on top of application dealing with all these different banks and lenders, what are some of the biggest do's and don'ts that, you know, our listeners at home need to know about in order to maximize going into these funding process to make sure they're getting a crazy bag, a bag.
I've heard you say that in one of your interviews before. The bag.
The bag.
Okay, got you. So obviously, when it comes to entity structure, I think that's the most important thing that we have to look at on the application, because when we look at the application, that's what they're going to ask for.
Right.
Your personal information, your business information. What is your business grossing? What is your business doing as far as revenue, as far as your personal revenue? But the most important thing that we really have to look on for an application is definitely, our business address, our personal address. Is it separated? Is it together? If so, why is it not separated? That's one. 2, also, do you have the same phone number as you have for your personal phone number?
Right.
You need to have a business phone number, right? Obviously, you need to have a business website if they ever want to look up your business. These are very important things. Your email, personal email, business email. It has to be 2 different things.
Right.
We can't have the Tevin Facey at Gmail be the business email. It needs to be info at Tevin Facey if that's the case. If that's what you want to do is for your business name, your intellectual property and things of that nature. So that's very important when it comes to applications.
The banks want to give you money. Let's get that clear.
Say that again. That's a bar.
Banks want to give you money.
Facts.
All you have to do is walk in there looking presentable for them to give you the money. So that's basically what Tevin just broke down. Look presentable. So set up an official business. We're not out here playing games. So there's a lot of things going on with people. We're hearing of the scams, the PPP loan frauds. So we want to look professional. Walk in there and you get access to that capital. So your suit and tie is having that LLC set up correctly. That's your suit and tie. So having that LLC set up correctly, having everything in order is how you're going to get access to the capital.
Right. Okay. Listen. Okay.
The bag.
The bag.
That gets you right there. That gets you right there.
This is I'm happy that we're having this conversation because, as both of y'all know, we're in a very sensitive climate right now, right?
Very much so.
In a recession, a lot of people, trying to make ends meet, trying to figure out what's the next move, trying to figure out how to take their business to the next level. Some people trying to figure out just how to, pay their bills on time, right?
Right.
I want to talk to y'all a little bit about this time that we're in this space that we're in, because I feel like now more than ever, obviously with us being in a recession, the conversation around just finances and the economy is higher than it's ever been before. What would y'all say to the average listener that's listening to this, whether it's an entrepreneur, consumer, whatever it may be, about like the best way for them to navigate through this time as we're kind of working our way through this recession?
I would say number 1, take personal accountability. By that, I mean, people are not investing in themselves enough and taking personal accountability of the situation. So there's so much free information on YouTube you can make money off of. But to now elevate yourself, you got to invest in a mentorship, invest in a course, and now you're going to get that's your college to get to that next level. So people are wanting just everything for free, and if it don't work, I don't have any money. You're not investing enough in yourself. It's so much money me and Tevin have spent on mentorships, courses, and programs, and it's paying off.
Right.
That's my college. I dropped out of college.
What college you went to?
I went to a bunch. I went to New York City Tech. That's what I'm saying. I went to Mega Evans, New York City Tech, York.
Just trying to figure it out.
Just trying to figure it out.
Right.
And a lot of us are doing that. A lot of people, I just noticed yesterday, I didn't really think about it. I was going through some of the clients' profiles. They're deferring these student loans and they're still getting hit interest with them. So off of $60K, you just deferred. Now you owe $100K. You coming out of college making $50K. You can't pay that off for 10, 20 years. You're struggling. You need to learn how to build a business and make more money than what that 9 to 5 is going to pay you. Because you working a 9 to 5, you're sitting there waiting for a check. And I'm not down in 9 to 5s because a 9 to 5 is your first investor.
For real. It is.
So use that to get to the next level.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So people need to start investing more in themselves, taking personal accountability of what they're doing wrong, and start taking action.
Right.
Execution, implementation.
But another part of that, and you guys can speak to this because y'all been through it, the sacrifice, right? Like a lot of times we on social media, we see the conversations around, fire your 9 to 5 and start a job and stuff like that. But that transition, I think, and I'm sure you guys could agree with this, why so many people struggle with that transition is because it's so tough for a lot of people to come to terms with the sacrifice that comes with it. Could y'all speak a little bit about what it was for y'all kind of making the commitment that y'all did to entrepreneurship, but the sacrifice that had to come with it before you were able to get to this point?
So I could speak on it definitely because it wasn't a hard decision for me because this was something that I wanted to do, right? I wanted time. I needed time to be with my family. I needed time to be able to provide that sustainability so that my daughter can see that when she's growing up, that her father was there for her, right? So that's something that we don't see in our community. So for me, my sacrifice was and why it made it so easy was because my family needed me because I wanted to show them that this can be something bigger, right? And a lot of people, they don't always have that same type of, I guess, tenacity when they want to just go out and do something, right? So for me, it took a little bit of time, right? It took some time. I didn't just drop out of my job right then and there, but it definitely made sense at the time when I actually got into the accident. It was a propeller for me. So I can't specifically speak on somebody that's not just sitting there and they're at their job, they're still making the money, they're investing into things, and for some reason, they just need more time and they don't know what to do. I can't specifically say that. I'm only going to speak on my experience. I don't ever want to just tell somebody, yo, go out and quit your job. Right. But it's a sacrifice that you want to make. And if you are going to do that, then you gotta really execute on it and put your whole heart into it. Like the recession is going to be announced in 2023 of June. That's this year. We're already in 2023. Right. That means we only have about 5 months left before the recession is really going to be announced. Right. And we know this because of the partners that we have in the banks, and they're telling us all the same thing. Right. So now, at this point, what are you going to do before you get laid off? What are you going to do before you get fired? Like, what is going to happen that you are now going to be able to say, hey, I've made this decision, and I think it's the right decision for myself. Because if not, I don't want you to get stuck by the wayside. So that for me, that just goes off of my experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And once again, that's why I prioritize having guests like y'all on here, because I want to be able to give people the information that they need to be able to start these businesses and do some of the things that you guys are doing, because you can't have full reliability in that job, right? You're literally coming into work day to day, not knowing if that day is going to be your last day, and then what happens? Like you said, you're a father, right? You guys have your children in mind each and every single day as you're building this brand. So having that knowledge, that understanding, and access to these resources, so people who are watching at home are able to take this information, implement it, and go from making $50,000 at a job to $50,000 a month, right? Doing business funding, running up a bag. You understand? That's what it's all about. So let's circle back to the funding, because I know there's so much more layers that we need to get into. You said something earlier, Brandon. You was talking about the importance of these relationships, right? The relationships and how they play a huge role when it comes to business funding. if I'm looking to learn more about, getting more funding for myself or this funding company that I'm looking to start, how do I go about establishing these relationships with these bankers at, Chase or Bank of America or at these credit unions or whatever it may be? What does that process look like?
So that's what we teach in Millionaire Essentials Academy, right? Building relationships, because underwriting is what's going to determine a yay or nay when it comes to funding, right?
Okay.
Underwriting.
And we've seen
So
that.
when you go into these banks, like I said, ask for or try to get in touch with a relationship manager or a business bank branch manager.
Okay.
So inside the bank, when you build those relationships, I would number one want to set up the account and apply for set up a personal and a business banking account, in my opinion, and try to get funding from that bank first. Now, once you get funding from that bank, now they treat you a little better. You
Okay.
say, "How you doing, Mr. Jackson?" They don't just walk in there like you're a blank face.
Right.
They treat you a little bit better because you have money and capital. They have an investment. You guys are partners now.
Right.
Now this is a partnership.
Right.
So now their best interest is to try to build your partnership because they make money off of your partnership. They make money off you depositing money. They make money off you giving cap. Everything you do in that bank, they make money off of.
Sure.
So their thing is to try to make more money off of you.
Facts. Right.
So when you go in there, now once you build a relationship with the bank, now what we're teaching you is that same relationship you just built, do that for clients.
Yep.
And now you're making money off the relationship you just built. So the same way you just got access to capital of building that relationship, teach that to your client. Now you're making a business off of teaching people or giving people the foundation of getting access to capital, helping them build business plans and helping them become profitable.
Yes, sir.
Because this is the MBA. And that's what Tevin was saying. Do not quit your 9 to 5. Because be honest, everybody's not built for this.
Right.
When you have your 9 to 5, do not quit unless you have a business plan or you're making money in the business. Because this is the MBA. And how many people make the MBA? What, less than 1%? To be honest, everybody is not built for this.
I say it all the
so
time.
if you're
right?
ready to come to the pros, just make sure you have an entire plan ready and make sure you're battle tested.
Yep. I say it all the time. You can still work at your 9 to 5, but you need to be investing. That $100,000 a year won't work. If you can invest or even start a company and you have somebody running it for you and you're only making $50,000 a year or $100,000, that's an extra $50,000 to your $100,000 that you already had.
Right.
So that's $150,000. Even if you make $100,000 off of that business for the year, that's an extra $100,000 to the $100,000 you already had. So now that becomes $200,000. You can invest in or you can pay for your kids' recitals. You can pay for the extracurricular activities. You can pay for whatever your kid needs and whatever your family needs. And that's why I specified, like, as far as my experience, I would never say to anybody, yo, just go ahead and quit.
Right.
Because you never know what can happen.
Fact.
So it's very important that if you are going to make those decisions, obviously don't make it lightly, but also make the decision to want to invest in yourself. Make the decision to want to become more for your family later on down the line. Generational wealth is what we're looking to build for, all of us. So.
Right. Okay. This is good. This is getting really good.
It's getting a little spicy?
This is getting real spicy.
Okay, cool.
I gotta sit up for
Let's make sure we giving them a bag.
No. The bag. You got to emphasize that.
Okay, my fault.
Yeah,
my
the
fault.
bag.
I got you. Next time I got you.
There you
Next
go.
time I got you.
Another part of this process, right? Because everybody talks about the good side of funding, right? 50K here, 20K here, 100K here, so forth and so on. I don't hear enough people talking about the denials, right? Like some of these banks you're gonna walk into, they're gonna look at the application and be like, well, no. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I know on the personal side, when you get funding or you're looking to get a credit card or whatever the case may be, you get denied. And then they have a reconsideration department where you could call in and like have them, double check your application and see if maybe they'll reconsider. On the business side, is there something similar like that? Or if not, what do I do if I'm looking to get funding and I get denied with that bank for that line of credit, that credit card, whatever it may be?
So I know a lot of your favorite entrepreneurs or your favorite influencers out here talking about let's get money non-PG, right? Yes,
Okay,
yes,
all
let's.
right, cool.
And this is
Let's
no
go.
offense, right? So a lot of people out here talking about non-PG funding. For everybody out there that's non-personally guaranteeing, right? Do not PG. Why not? When you PG, you get access to the most money. So they're saying don't PG, you don't want anything in your personal name.
Right.
So that means you don't have plans on paying back. So why wouldn't you want to PG to get in the door? So when you PG business funding, it doesn't show up on your personal profile if you do it the right way.
At the right
It's
banks.
just business credit and business lines of credit. It just means you're liable because you have to pay that money back. we're going to pay that money back because we have a solid business plan. So now if we get denied, the answer is in the denial. They'll tell you why you got denied, what you got denied for, what they're looking for. So we started taking notes on, oh, they got denied because of this. They got denied because of this.
Right.
So now we know what these banks are looking for and how to better set up our profile. So you can do a reconsideration if you think your profile is up to par and
what they're looking at is incorrect.
and what they're looking at is incorrect. And that's the point of building relationships.
Right.
So when you have a strong relationship, like we have some strong relationships.
Strong.
So if we get denied or we got clients denied or some of our clients have got denied, that bank branch manager or that relationship manager or that underwriter that we have a strong relationship can kind of push the envelope, reconsider, and now turn that denial to approval because we have built up a solid relationship. So it's not just about what's on paper. I've seen people with a worse credit score get approved because we got them reconsidered and they said, you know what, we trust you. So underwriting is not just black and white. It's about they can push paperwork forward if they want to.
Right.
So now having those people in our back pocket, which me and Tevin have built up, and that's why we're handing this down to our clients, is turning denials into approvals.
Yep. And it's funny. So me and my partner, we go to sleep and we watch this show called Shark Tank.
Oh, cool,
Right.
yeah.
So we all know about Shark
Yeah, we all know
Good
about
show,
Shark
good
Tank.
show.
Great show.
It's a great
show.
show.
Right.
But have y'all ever thought about this, right? Everybody goes to them to try to get money. They try to get money. They try to ask for 10%, 20%, 30% giving up a piece of their company. When if they actually knew how to go and get funding, that would never have been the issue.
Right.
They would never have been on Shark Tank unless you're going for the expertise and the advice. But then again, that's what mentorships are for. So, like for me, when we're watching it, we're like, yo, we see all these people saying that, you know, I don't have any way of getting this money. I don't have any way of getting this money, and I need your help. If we can teach you how to get the funding that you need, how to get the funding that can really propel your business plan that you actually have, then what is the like what are you waiting for?
Right.
In a sense, what are you actually waiting for? So I think that's the most important thing, especially because for everybody that you talk to, no matter what, when it comes to starting a business, they say, "Yeah, I don't got the money, but this plan I got, boy, I tell you, it's gonna be the one.
Right.
It's gonna take me out the hood or whatever it is." But like, if we're teaching you how to do so, but as well as educating you how you can do so, as well as how you can move forward, and even if it's not to do exactly what we want you to do, but in the sense you understand how to get the funding, then why not?
There you go. Okay. This getting good. This getting good. This getting better. I love this.
Sir.
I love this. Okay, now, let's say somebody's listening to this interview. Somebody's watching this interview. They say, yo, Millionaire Essentials, they taught me how to get the bag, right? And now I've gotten myself however much in funding. I want to turn this into a funding company, right? Doesn't matter if you have a funding company. Don't matter if you have a credit restoration company, whatever the company is. There's no company that could survive without clients, without customers, right? I'm looking to start a funding company using the information that y'all taught me on this interview. How can I go about finding clients for my business?
Marketing is everything in today's world. You guys are on, I guarantee whoever's watching this interview is on their phone 24/7 or on their phone a good majority of the time. Your phone is your marketing partner. That same bill that you pay every month, that's your marketer, right? So you're on IG, you're on TikTok, you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, you're on Twitter. That's free marketing.
You forgot TikTok.
You're on Pinterest.
You're on Pinterest. That's free marketing, right? So that's what I would start there. Market what you do and talk about what you do everywhere you go. I do for everybody needs capital. So that's always going to be a topic of conversation. Use all the free marketing that you already use. Social media. So market on social media, what you do, your business, how can you get access to capital? Number one, you got to have the education. Millionaire Essentials. Millionaire Essentials Academy. So once you have the education, market what you do. Now, once you market what you do, now you got to start putting that product out there. Create Academy, you create an ebook. An ebook you can sell every day. I would suggest everybody create a product like an ebook. It could be something else, but a product you can sell in your sleep. So now once you put that product out in the world, a course, an ebook, anything like that, that can make money while you sleep. So that's starting off small, right? So now let's get to the funding the clients. Once you have the education, you set up that relationship with the banks. Now you can start filtering clients to that same branch manager or relationship manager you have a relationship with. Now start filtering clients through there. Check their credit score, check their qualifications. Once they're qualified, pre-qualified, send those clients in, and that's how you start making money off building a funding company. And that's what we teach in Millionaire Essentials.
So even with that, right? A lot of things that me and Brandon used to do too, like meetups. Any city that you're in, there's always going to be a real estate meetup. There's always going to be some type of business meetup. If you're not one of them people that want to put your face on camera or something like that, meetups and referral partners.
Right.
Meetup and referral partners are very important because guess what? If you can't do it, but you know you have the knowledge in order to do it, but you know somebody that has a bigger platform or that you know somebody that wants to do it, like in the sense of speaking about it or even affiliate marketing, right? We just had a webinar because we do free webinars every single week, and we're doing our free webinar. This Tuesday, we spoke about how you can be an affiliate marketer. You don't even have to be able to do the service. You don't even have to be the one doing the service. But if you can have somebody that wants to affiliate market for you and you pay them a percentage, or even if you have credit repair companies that you see out there that's doing amazing, but they're only doing credit repair, why not you be the funding source for them?
Right.
So it's a perfect win-win situation no matter which way you look about it. If you're scared to be on the camera, just refer out. Go to meetups. Understand that you can be the catalyst to your business if you just really understand about executing.
I love it. Okay. So they have an idea now of how to start bringing clients in, but no business. We know that business is not a business without clients, without customers. But every business also needs structure, right? You got to make sure your foundation is set, right? So you can go out and get this bag, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about the structuring of the business. First off, how do I get paid as someone with a funding company? Because I know typically they have I think it's like commission. I've heard some people call it like success fees. Some people get I think an 8%, 9%, 10% fee. Break that down for me.
So we charge success fees, right? We only charge you based off what you get funded, right? There's no upfront fee. That's how we work.
Okay.
So if I get you 100K and I do a 10% success fee, that's 10,000, right? So number one, like I said, our goal is for you to be successful. So we usually analyze our clients or talk to our mentees, things of that nature, and want to know what's their plan. Because we want to make sure they can pay this money back. Make sure they have a business. Make sure they're able to be profitable, right? Because we don't want to be out here just to be taking money from people or charging people and you're not profitable. Our goal is for you to be successful and profitable. So we usually charge between an 8 to 10% success fee, depending on a client, the situation, what we're getting you funding for. So off of what we get you funded, we'll just take that success fee off of the capital that you were able to access.
Right.
So that's usually how it goes. That's why you could get that 10K a client, 5K a client, 20K a client.
And with him saying the 10K, 5K, 20K, I know I didn't say it in the right chronological order, but we actually had one of our mentees actually just funded somebody $100,000. We actually...
I'll run out the studio.
See, they was actually able to fund him $100,000, right? Actually, a couple of them. But I was just talking about the more recent one. And she even came on our webinar and gave a testimonial on there as well because it was just absolutely insane. It was only from 2 banks, literally 2 inquiries. She got him $100,000 and she had a 10% success fee. So whatever she paid for the academy, she automatically made it back just off of one client.
Crazy.
$10,000, and she barely did any work.
Made it back plus more.
Plus more.
Laptop money. Phone money. Goodness. My question is, you said, you guys don't charge up front, right? So this may be a bit of a funny question. Have y'all ever had somebody that tried to run off on a plug? Like you got them funded and then afterwards it was like, thank you, and then just dipped out?
Right.
And if so, how do you protect yourself against that? Because, not everybody got a good heart, right? So you want to make sure we safe. How that work?
That's true.
So fortunately we haven't had that. Hopefully we don't. But I will just put a collection on account. We're a company, we're an official company, right?
Oh, okay.
Sign contracts, agreements.
We have contracts, agreements, things of that nature. If we don't get paid, you just put a collection on account and go about it that way and chase you down for the money.
Chase you down for the money. That's it. Okay. Another thing as well, and this is actually something I'm really starting to learn more about even in my own business, SOPs. Can we talk? If we can,
operating procedures.
This is important, man. Because when I first got into entrepreneurship, I was kind of just figuring it out, doing things as it came along. I didn't understand the importance of, once again, the structure. When it comes to the funding company, could you talk a little bit? First off, if you can, explain what a SOP is for people who are listening who don't know, and how do we put those things in place within our business once again to make sure everything is running smoothly.
So standard operating procedure, SOPs, right? So With SOPs, that's really understanding basically what your company is going to do from A all the way to Z. And if you have a place in between that A to Z that you're not conducting the business in, then you're not really operating in that standard operating procedure, because now you're just adding, you know, different strategies and ways that you can go around it. But when it comes to it, SOPs is what you need to follow that guideline for. You understand what I'm saying? So now, for us, what we do with our SOPs, with the standard operating procedures, we make sure that we've written all of that down and every step and procedures that we've taken, even from ourselves. Even when it comes to submitting information to the bank, when it comes to helping our clients, when it comes to our mentees understanding so that they can now understand what it is, right? We give them the SOPs so that they can see what it is they need to do moving forward. You understand? So that's something that we really specifically touch on, specifically on that part.
Yeah, if you don't have a system, you're going to fail, right?
Just like that.
If you don't have a system, you're destined to fail and you're not going to grow. So the key thing is, and what we've learned in entrepreneurship, and this is why it's good to take your bumps and bruises, is you have to set up a system to elevate and keep things going. So you never know when you're going to blow up. Off this interview, we might get 100,000 people want to.
It ain't no if.
Right.
You know, this is the Marvin Friends.
Okay, my fault. You're right.
Come on,
Right.
come on.
It's the MF.
Yeah, it's the MFS. You understand?
S. My fault.
So we have a team and standard operating procedures where now we can systemize and bring clients in and have them go along the whole process orderly, updated, and have everything smooth. So it goes from intake to outtake.
Even with a
in a
CRM
smooth process.
Yep.
We have a CRM, a client relationship management system.
Okay. Talk a little bit about that. For those who don't know what a CRM is, talk about that.
So that, like I said, that's a system. So that helps with our marketing. That helps with contacting clients. That helps with tracking data as far as income, expenses. It's everything. So it keeps the relationship with the client and the business.
Yep.
So it helps with tracking everything in our business. So we use that to just keep track of everything, keep everything orderly. And that's what I think every business should have. So systems is very important. That's going to elevate your business. If you're not systematized and if everything's not written down, you can't pass it off to an employee or another individual for them to run.
Right.
Because you don't want to work in the business, you want to work on the business.
Yep. And then even with learning that, right, we've learned a lot about our CRM, a lot. And like even with me, I've put in place certain automations so that even when a client is basically created in our CRM, they basically get a text message automatically saying, hey, you know, welcome to the family. We're going to go ahead and check out your credit report, see what's going on, if you qualify, if you are the best fit for us. If they're moved into a section where they're not, then obviously they get a message stating how we can help them, and these are the next steps that we can help them. And if they do qualify, then we have an automated message that goes out to say, hey, these are the next steps. We can't wait to get this process started. See you soon. You get what I'm saying? Because we're going to go ahead and give them a call, make sure that they understand the process so that it's a continuous flow, right? In 2 weeks, they even get a reminder like, hey, how are we doing? Do you have any questions? How can we help you? Has anything affected your credit since we've started this process and things of that nature? So I think it's really great that we have that CRM. We were able to create those workflows and really so that people understand that they also feel appreciated because we put enough time and effort into caring that we were able to give those automated messages so that they understand that, look, we're here for you. That's what we're here for.
Millionaire Essentials, man.
Yes, sir. The essentials to be a millionaire.
I know we have to wrap this up. And before we do, I have one more question to ask. But before I do that, just take a minute to let the people know, number one, where they can find you guys. And then also, you know, all the things that you have available to them right now. I know you guys have an ebook, courses. You also have your program. I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit about that. But any camera, my camera, y'all camera, this camera over here, tell the people where they can find y'all and what you guys have going on right now. And then we'll start to wrap it up from there.
Got you. So for me, my name is Tevin Facey. You can find me on Instagram at Essentials ABC Solutions, as well as at Tevin Facey. Either or, you'll still find my at Essentials ABC Solutions page. And with that page, that was a page that we started originally. Okay. And we always loved the name, and that was just our brand. And obviously with Essentials at the beginning, Millionaire at the beginning now, it was together. A perfect collaboration. So you can find us at Essentials ABC Solutions. We have all of our products on there, as well as, you know, our Discord, our ebook, as well as our course and our academy. So, Brandon can probably talk a little bit more about the products in the sense, but we're definitely here for a full service suite for you. And if you need anything, you guys can obviously DM us there, as well as TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I'm pretty sure that, or YouTube as well.
There you go. Boom.
Facebook and included.
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram, Brandon_the_provider. Yes, that's where all our products is at. Definitely not Instagram and all our social media platforms. In the academy, you get access to everything. You get the Discord for free. You get the course. You get the ebooks. The academy is really for everybody that's ready to level up and get to that next level and make profit. We'll teach you from the foundation all the way up to becoming profitable. We actually help you get your first client and fund your first client. So we make sure you make your money back in the academy and you start becoming profitable. So that's the real foundation to get into that next level of entrepreneurship and making money. We want everybody to be able to access and get in the academy. If you can't, start somewhere. Start our ebook. Start our course. Get in the Discord. Because we have all the information to start elevating people. And that's what we want people to start doing. Start taking action. So whatever you could afford, just invest in yourself.
Right.
Don't say you can't, because there's always an opportunity when you can. We do free webinars every week. So far, we've done business funding. We've done marketing. We've done affiliate marketing. We've done credit. So we've been telling you every week for free. So if you say, I didn't have the money, we've been doing it for free every week. So
For
now
real.
what's your excuse?
Real estate.
Just get in contact with us and let's get something going.
Let's go. And if I'm not, oh, you about to say something?
Yeah, real estate, storage units, private car rental, we've literally done everything. Airbnb, we've literally pushed everything on our free webinar, and we're going to continue to do so. If you guys feel like that's something that is needed, we're going to keep doing it for the people, man.
And if I'm not mistaken, y'all are doing something special for this episode as well. Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I love
sir.
it. So can I tell him?
Yeah, go ahead,
Listen,
man.
if you're watching this right now, text Marvin to 917-809-5707. That's Marvin to 917-809-5707. It's going to be watermarked on the video as well, but I just wanted to get a chance to say it. That's great. Man, I appreciate y'all greatly. One question so we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
It's fill in the blank for me, right? And you could be both of y'all, one of y'all, however you want to do it. You should not get into entrepreneurship if blank.
I got one. You should not get into entrepreneurship if you are not going to execute. Information that's provided to you can be continuously provided, but if you don't execute on the information, it's not even going to make sense. You intaking the information just for you to speak about it, it won't matter. If you are getting into entrepreneurship, you need execution, implementation. That is very necessary, because if you don't, then you won't get anywhere.
There you go.
You shouldn't get into entrepreneurship if your mentality is not right. Mentality is number one. A lot of people in this era is using that S word, right? I don't like using the S word.
What's that?
What's the S word?
Scam.
Oh my
So
God.
I see people.
Hold up.
I see people. And this is just my opinion. Everybody's a scammer online, right? Everybody's that guy's a scammer, and that guy's a scammer. Number one, don't use the S word if you haven't done it and you can't correct the person. And if you think that person's not doing something right, why don't you reach out to them, try to partner, and you guys can maybe do whatever you think he's doing wrong the correct way. Because I see a lot of people use that S word against people that appear to be successful. So that's why, number one, me and Tevin have all our receipts. We have all our information. We have everything out here. If you think we're doing something wrong or incorrect, or we're saying something that's maybe you disagree with, let's go over it.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about it. Help me help you.
There you go.
Yes,
I love
sir.
it. I love it. Listen, Millionaire Essentials, thank y'all so much for coming on the platform. And thank you at home for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you take a second, take a minute, take an hour out of your day right here, right now to show this episode some love. As always, y'all have been good. We've been great. This has been amazing. I'm Marvin Francois. This is Millionaire Essentials. And thank y'all. God bless. Peace.
God bless. Peace.